Empire.
Welcome to the Football Jones podcast. I am Mike Jones. You can read me at usatoday.com. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @ByMikeJones. And thanks again for listening. You found me if you were listening to this either on iTunes, on Google Play, online. Either way, thanks so much. Make sure you download, subscribe, and tell your friends about it. We're coming to you every week, most times twice a week, with insight, news, and notes, observations from around the NFL. We are closing the chapter on week 1 of the regular season, and we're turning our attention to week 2. Here we go. Yes, it was a quite compelling week 1 of the regular season. We covered that in Monday's podcast, and here we are at our midweek episode, and we've got a lot to cover. I'm going to have my picks, my predictions, my players to watch for each one of the contests for this weekend, starting with Thursday, then on to Sunday, and then Monday night. But first, what would it be without another Antonio Brown update? It just never stops with this guy. He is the never-ending story, and just when you think that it's going to settle down and it can't get any crazier, he goes and contradicts that, and he's in the news again, this time for rape allegations. His former trainer has filed a suit against him, a civil suit, this right before the day before he was supposed to take the practice field with the Patriots. We're going to see what's going to happen with that. The NFL is looking into the matter. Obviously, this thing is just getting going, and it's going to be a while before we hear the resolution to this. Antonio Brown's camp is adamantly denying this. There's a lot of details with these allegations. I won't go into them. I'll let you guys go and find them yourselves. But his camp says it's false. Obviously, it's a very serious matter. You can't discount it. You have to wait and see how this process plays out. For right now, though, he is on the practice field with the Patriots. As Bill Belichick said, they're taking it day by day. We will see if he plays on Sunday. So far, there hasn't been any decision to put him on the exempt list. I think the NFL is trying to gather, from what I was told, asking around the league. The NFL is just right now looking into the matter, trying to gather as much information as possible. So for now, he's on target to play on Sunday. Bill Belichick wouldn't say for sure. He kept saying we're taking this day one day at a time. But if all goes well, I think we'll see him on Sunday as the Patriots take on the Miami Dolphins. It's going to be interesting to see because we know he's a world-class talent. We know he's got a lot of baggage and foolishness that comes along with him. But if there was ever a place to buckle up and really focus, this is it. He's not going to get an opportunity any better than this. And so I imagine we're going to see Antonio Brown on his best behavior as the New England Patriots proceed through this season, trying to repeat as Super Bowl champs. Do they need him? Not really. Could it help them having him? Yes. I think it's like the Golden State Warriors getting Kevin Durant. They didn't really need him. They had a lot of talent with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, but adding Kevin Durant just makes you that much more potent. It's all about winning matchups. Everybody's going to have an off day at times, but if you have your roster loaded with talent, then that can negate a lot of negatives. So Antonio Brown's going to, be able to help compensate for those days when another wide receiver is off, or the defense is keying on one guy, or maybe they're keying on Brown and opens up an opportunity for someone else, or Tom Brady's just a little bit off. But having a guy of Brown's talent will make a difference. But again, we'll see what happens. We won't get ahead of ourselves, as Bill Belichick would preach day by day. For right now, he's on the practice field wearing number 1. Obviously, that's going to change before his first game because wide receivers can't wear number 1. But we'll see how things play out for Antonio Brown. But before we get to that, I'm going to give you my picks for there were a lot of disappointing outings to start off the season, and there are some people badly in need of a bounce back, a rebound in week 2. We're going to go over that. My picks, I'm going to give you 5 people who badly need rebounds in week 2 so they can keep themselves afloat as they proceed through this season. If they have another bad outing, things will take a quick turn south. But when we come back, 5 people who most badly need a rebound in week 2 of the regular season. All right, here we are. Like I said, there was a lot of great performances in week 1. There were some bad performances in week 1. There were some surprisingly bad performances. There were some disappointing performances. Either way, there are these guys. I've got 5 guys who fall in this category of needing redemption this week. And I'm going to start with number 1, Baker Mayfield, the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. You know, all the hype, all the talk. He's got all the weapons added this offseason. To already the last 2 years, they've really worked with Jarvis Landry, to go with the talent they already had there. Then they add OBJ. They've got the weapons there. They should be contenders. And what did we see on Sunday? A very sloppy and undisciplined team. Now, I'm not hitting the panic button. I don't think the Browns are as bad as they looked. I don't think the Titans are as good as they looked. But Baker Mayfield, each week that he goes out there and plays poorly, the pressure is going to mount. Obviously, he played well last year as a rookie, but the target's on his back now. The sophomore slump could be there. He's got to guard against that, and so that's why I've put him on this list of a guy needing to bounce back. 3 interceptions, just awful. He's got to do a better job of taking care of the football, making better decisions, especially under pressure. His offensive line has got to do better. The whole Browns team as a whole, they were very undisciplined, lots of penalties, sloppy play, but everybody's going to look at Baker Mayfield. So that's why I've got him on this list, guys needing to bounce back. Number 2 on this list is the guys that he is going to be facing on Monday night. And I'm starting with the top there with Adam Gase, the head coach of the New York Jets, because they started off pretty well, especially because of their defense. Their offense wasn't that great. Their defense gave them a touchdown and a safety, and the offense kind of had some bright spots, but not enough. And they were up 16-0 in the second half and collapsed and lost 17-16. Okay, but the thing I didn't like when I heard at the end of the game was when Adam Gase basically threw his players under the bus and said, guys have to do a better job of executing what they've been taught. Well, maybe that's true, but if you look at the good head coaches around the league, they're not throwing their players under the bus. They're looking themselves in the mirror and they're saying, I've got to do a better job of getting these guys prepared. So Adam Gase didn't do that. I didn't think his game plan was very good at all. I thought that he didn't make adjustments in the second half. I thought that Le'Veon Bell, for as talented as he is, was not used in the variety of ways that he's able of helping out a team. And that goes to Adam Gase. He's supposedly an offensive guy, an offensive whiz. Well, I didn't see much of that offensive talent there. And so that's why I'm putting this on him. He's got to bounce back in week 2. He's going to be playing in prime time. He's got to have his guys prepared to do better than what they did last week. You cannot just have, 8 points coming from your offense when you were supposedly an offensive guy. You've got talent. Now, yes, they need work at the wide receiver position. Jamison Crowder is a reliable slot guy. They've just traded for Demaryius Thomas. He could probably help them, but still, game plan's got to be better. You be better, Adam Gase. Next on my list of guys that need to bounce back is Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers. Goodness, I think that we knew there might be some struggles as they rebound, try to bounce back from this whole Antonio Brown thing. They rid themselves of that distraction, but we didn't expect them to look as bad as they did. I'm serious, like 3 points against the New England Patriots. I was expecting a really highly motivated Ben Roethlisberger, a motivated Juju Smith-Schuster, and I thought that they were going to go out there and that they were going to put up points, and it was going to be kind of a shootout with the New England Patriots. That was not the case. They could not figure out how to get this thing going, and 3 points and a blowout. So Ben Roethlisberger, it starts with him on that offense. He's got to get his guys to rally around him. He's got to make some difference-making plays. I know there were some wide receivers that had lots of drops there, but I'm starting with Big Ben. He's the leader of that offense. They have got to bounce back this week because, that division's up for grabs there. And so now we'll see how they respond to a disappointing outing here in week 2. Next up, I have Jay Gruden. Jay Gruden's really got to go out there. He did not have a good week 1. Obviously, first half of that game, the Redskins versus the Eagles, looked pretty good. I think they surprised all of us. But the second half just really fell off the wagon there. And not only just the collapse, but Jay Gruden he's got some pressure on him because his decision to bench Adrian Peterson in favor of Darius Geis, that is something that wasn't popular with the guys in that locker room. He said, you know what, they had numbers, they couldn't dress for running backs in his mind, so he went with Darius Geis, the second year guy who missed all of his rookie season. Had Adrian Peterson, a guy who is a future Hall of Famer, rushed for 1,000 yards last year. And instead of, I don't care, start Darius Geis, but have Adrian Peterson uniform because Darius Geis has not done anything to prove to you that he can be consistent or hold up in the NFL. He got injured early in the preseason last year, first game of the preseason. Then on Sunday, he was supposed to be the starter, averaged, I think it was like 18 yards on 10 carries or something really, really weak, and now he's got a knee injury. He should have had Adrian Peterson dressing. And more than just performance-wise, the guys in the locker room really respect Peterson. And when you have a starter, your right tackle like Morgan Moses saying he should have been dressed, we needed him out there, you've got guys publicly questioning you, Jay Gruden, you've got to go out there and really put together a good game plan. Now he has to go back to Adrian Peterson because Geis is hurt and going to be out for a while. But guys are already looking at Jay kind of sideways. This is the last year of his deal. He needs to win to extend his career there with the Redskins. And so he needs to bounce back this week. They've got the Dallas Cowboys coming to town. The Cowboys are flying high. The Redskins have not been able to beat the Cowboys for a while now, but they're playing at home. It's week 2 of the regular season. You've got to get your guys up for this game. Jay Gruden, you've got to bounce back. And then my last guy on this list, the 5th guy, is another head coach, Brian Flores of the Miami Dolphins. Look, we knew they weren't going to be good. We knew there were going to be struggles. You got a first-year head coach. You've got a young roster. You're turning over that roster. You're unloading big contracts. You're picking up draft picks and things like that so you can build for the future. But the effort has got to be much better. There cannot be this type of just a feeble, embarrassing type of effort there. To lose 59-10 at home, week 1 of the regular season. I know that Lamar Jackson's very talented, but I don't think that he's quite that good. Well, now you've got people questioning you, talking about, you're asking if the organization is tanking. Supposedly they're players who are wondering the same thing. Look, I know Brian Flores is a hardworking guy and's got a lot of pride. He needs to show everybody why he was hired as the head coach and that he is not tanking. He's got the Patriots to play this week, and he needs to have his guys. I don't think he's got to win, but they've got to be competitive. Traditionally, Bill Belichick's former assistants do get their teams to play well against him. They might not win, but they play well and give the Patriots some struggles. So Brian Flores, bounce back. Make sure your guys are ready to play. Come with the good effort and be competitive and respectable. I know it's going to be hard, but they've just got to show some fight and not look like they are packing it in before the season even gets to the halfway point. So those are my 5 guys that I think in this league, week 2, have got to bounce back, and we'll see what happens here. A lot of pressure on these guys early in the season. Yes, it's a long year, but you can't afford to go into a hole. When I come back, I'm going to give you my picks and predictions for the week 2 action. Last week, we went over those picks and did pretty well. I think it was 10-6, 13-2 against the spread. So not bad. I'm not saying go to Vegas with these picks, but I feel pretty good about the picks again. So when we come back, we're going to go over those predictions and players to watch for week 2 of the NFL regular season. Okay, here we go. As promised, we're going to go over our predictions, players to watch for week 2 of the regular season. And here we go. Like I said, did a decent job last week, and we're going to take another stab at this week. Starting off Thursday night, Carolina Panthers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm picking the Carolina Panthers 29-20. My player to watch for the Panthers is tight end Greg Olsen. Picking him because last week the Bucs played the 49ers and really struggled against George Kittle. He had 8 receptions. That was more than double any of the wide receivers on the 49ers team. They've got to do a better job. The Bucs, they've got to do a better job on defense of containing the tight end. Cam Newton likes to go to him. He can pick up first downs. If he can have a big day, then that's good for that offense, keeps them rolling. It's a divisional game, so obviously it's going to be a tough matchup, but I think that it's going to be a big day for Greg Olsen. Got the Panthers winning 29-20. On the other side of the ball, I've got Jameis Winston as my player to watch. Yes, had him there last week as well, but look, he's got to bounce back. 3 interceptions. All the talk has been he's working, been trying to grow and everything with new coach Bruce Arians, and he just looked like the same old Jameis Winston. So come back this week. Show us what you can do. Show us some of that growth and battle against a divisional opponent. He's my guy to watch. Up next, we got the Baltimore Ravens. They are going to be playing the Arizona Cardinals. I've got the Ravens winning 27-21. I know they scored 59 points last week, but I don't think that they're going to be able to score at that rate every single week. I'm going with them 27-21. My guy to watch is Lamar Jackson. Again, he looked amazing. Now, I want to see, though, is he that good? Have the leaps and bounds come at that type of dramatic rate? Or did he look that good because the Dolphins are that bad? The Cardinals defense isn't that bad. They kept them in that game when the offense was struggling badly last week. And so this will be a good test for Lamar Jackson. Want to see what he can do again. And on the other side of the ball, I'm watching Kyler Murray again. 3 quarters, he looked awful. Looked like a rookie, a guy who was not ready to start in this league. But in the 4th quarter, really turned it on. Came out there and played at a high level, brought his team all the way back, forced overtime. They played to the tie. So let's see what he can do in week 2 if he can get off to a faster start. Next game, Tennessee Titans versus the Indianapolis Colts in Nashville. I've got the Titans winning 27-25. Yep, another divisional game. It's going to be close. This week, my player to watch is Derrick Henry. Last week, he had a big game. He rushed for 84 yards and a touchdown, and he also had a 75-yard touchdown catch. That was a screen catch and run. He is a guy who is all-around threat for you, physical guy. Last week, the Colts struggled to contain Austin Eckler, so I wonder if their defenses can do any better this week. They've got another talented back, and so that's why I've got Henry as my player to watch on the Titans side of the ball, and on the Colts side of the ball, Marlon Mack. He is coming off of a monster game, 174 rushing yards and a touchdown. Big outing for him. Let's see if he can keep that up, because if he can be productive, it eases pressure on Jacoby Brissett. He's got to, they've got to maintain a balanced offense, but it starts with the run game there. But again, Titans 27-25. Already talked about the Steelers, how they need to bounce back. I'm picking them 24-18. My player to watch is Dante Moncrief, wide receiver. Look, he's got to step up and be the guy with Antonio Brown gone. He's got to be the guy opposite Juju Smith-Schuster. Obviously, Juju is going to be the top target, but that means there are opportunities for Moncrief. Last week, he had 10 targets and only had 3 catches. He had a lot of drops. He's got to be better as they come out here against this Seattle Seahawks defense. We'll see. Maybe it was a little jitters last week. Maybe he's more settled in this week. We'll find out. But my player to watch on the Seattle side of the ball is another wide receiver, DK Metcalf. Nice debut for a rookie there. 4 catches, 89 yards. Looks like he already got a good rapport with their quarterback there, Russell Wilson. We'll see if he can maintain that. How does he respond once defenses get film on him and figure out how to try to contain him? We'll see. But again, it's the Steelers winning 24-18. Next up, San Francisco 49ers against the Cincinnati Bengals. I've got San Francisco winning 28-24. Player to watch is wide receiver Marquise Goodwin. They did not have very much production from their wide receivers. Like I said, Kittle had 8 catches. Next wide receiver had 3. Another guy with 3. Another guy with 1. They need more from their wide receivers. Jimmy Garoppolo, was knocking off the rust last week, but his guys have got to help him. They've got to get separation. Goodwin is a guy with world-class speed. He's got all the talent in the world. Let's see him emerge and become the deep threat that they need on that team. And here I go with another wide receiver. My player to watch in Cincinnati is John Ross III. Last week against the Seahawks, 158 yards on 7 catches, 2 touchdowns. Wow, that is the kind of talent they thought they were getting in him when they drafted him. He's dealt with some injuries, has not been as impactful, but let's see if he can follow that up with another big outing or if that was just a mirage. Next up, I've got the LA Chargers versus the Detroit Lions. I'm picking the Chargers to win 30-24. Player to watch is Austin Eckler, coming off of a monster game, running the ball, catching the ball, just an all-around threat. Prove that, hey, he's the guy they can rely on with Melvin Gordon out, but let's see if he can continue to play at this high level. So he's my player to watch there. My guy to watch on the other side of the ball is Lions head coach Matt Patricia. You can't jump out to a 17 to a lead. I think it was 24-6 there in the fourth quarter, and your team collapses and winds up tying. That's not as bad as a loss, but when you've got a lead like that, that's embarrassing. Matt Patricia's been a guy that there was questions about him all throughout his first year as a head coach. Now it's year 2. He's got to raise his level of coaching, get these guys to maintain their level of play, know how to finish games out. Let's see how he does here. Next up, we got Green Bay Packers, and we're going to see here. They're going to be playing against their division rivals, the Minnesota Vikings. I've got the Packers. It's going to be a close game. I've got the Packers winning 29-27. Player I want to watch on that side is running back Aaron Jones. Aaron Rodgers, yes, he's the guy that makes that offense go, but they did not have a strong rushing attack last week. They struggled to get it going against the Bears. And I know Matt LaFleur, he believes in establishing the run game to set up the play action and things like that. Yes, he's got a world-class talent at quarterback, but he wants more balance than that. Adam Jones and that offensive line have to have a more productive day. They're going against another tough defensive front, but I think that they should be able to do better. So Jones is my player to watch on that side of the ball. On the other side, I'm watching Kirk Cousins with the Vikings. They won last week, but Cousins had a very quiet day, 8 for 10 for 98 yards and a touchdown. You don't expect that, kind of game manager type production from a guy that you're giving $84 million over 3 years, fully guaranteed. The game plan called for running the ball. Dalvin Cook had 111 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, but they need a little more out of their passing game. They didn't have to last week because their defense and the run game played so well, but I want to see what Cousins can do because it's going to have to probably be a shootout with Aaron Rodgers. But again, Packers 29-27. Next up, we got the Houston Texans against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm picking the Texans 33-16. The player to watch, I'm putting on the whole entire offensive line. Look, Deshaun Watson is an amazing talent. He carries that team, but they've got to do more to help him. They've added some pieces to an offensive line, but they still gave up 6 sacks against the Saints. I know some of them are on Watson because he tries to extend plays probably longer than what he should, but still they've got to protect him more so he's not scrambling for his life all the time. That whole entire offensive line, how they play will determine because they're going up against a very good defensive front from the Jacksonville Jaguars. And so the offensive line is my players to watch. And for the Jaguars, quarterback Gardner Minshew, he had to step in last week when Nick Foles went down. The rookie did not do badly. 275 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. But they didn't game plan for him. So how will the Texans do? Now they have film on him. They have his tendencies. They're probably going to try to find ways to confuse him and throw him off of his game. We will see how he does here in week 2. Next up, the New England Patriots. Yes, like I said, they've got the Dolphins. My player to watch, of course, is Antonio Brown. We want to see if he's even on the field, and if he is on the field, what kind of an impact he has there. You know he's going to be champing at the bit to get going. I've got the Patriots winning this one 28-12. They probably could light it up even more than that, but because Bill Belichick going against another former assistant, like I said before, they normally give him a tough time because they know his offense and his defense well. So I'm saying it's going to be not the huge blowout that you might expect there. Brian Flores is my guy to watch. Obviously, he's got to get his team, like we talked about in the earlier segment, he's got to get his team ready to play. He's got to match Bill Belichick wit for wit and try to stay one up on him. But again, I've got the Patriots winning 28-12. Next up, I've got the New York Giants, and we'll see what they can do here. The Giants are coming off of a loss to the Cowboys. Now, can they get that win as they take on the Buffalo Bills? I have the Giants winning 28-18. I think this is going to be a tough, grinded out type of game. I'm putting it on their pass rush. Those are the guys I want to see, the players to watch, their pass rush. They didn't have any sacks on Dak Prescott. They only had 2 hits on the quarterback the whole entire game, and he had a monster game. Well, you have a young quarterback. You have to get after Josh Allen. You have to fluster him. You got to force him into mistakes. So that's why I'm looking at their pass rushers there. And on the other side of the ball, I want to look at John Brown, wide receiver with the Bills here. Last week, he had 7 catches for 123 yards and a touchdown. I want to see if he can keep that up. If so, that is great. A speed guy to have for Josh Allen. That's why they got him from Baltimore. I knew he had talent there. He was just in a logjam of receivers. We'll see what he can do here this week. That's my player to watch. But again, Giants edging him out 20-18. Next up, Dallas Cowboys against the Washington Redskins. Got the Cowboys winning 28-20. I don't see how this is going to be a very close game. Maybe the Redskins will hang with them for a while, but they probably, I see them fading in the end there. Dak Prescott is my guy to watch for the Cowboys. He's coming off of a big game, but can he keep that up? Each week, there's going to be pressure to maintain that level of play, especially while he waits for this contract negotiations to finally get hammered out. So we'll see what he can do this week. My player to watch on the Redskins side of the ball is defensive lineman Tim Settle. Tim Settle, who is that, you say? He's a second-year guy. He's having to step in because Jonathan Allen is out injured, their best defensive lineman. He really is the key to that offensive line. They have to play well. They have to produce. And if they're not able to contain Ezekiel Elliott, if they're not able to get after Dak Prescott, it's going to be a long, long day for the Redskins. And so there's a lot of pressure riding on the young fellow there from Manassas, Virginia, nearby Washington, D.C. So he's my player to watch there. Next up, Kansas City Chiefs against the Raiders. Got the Chiefs winning this thing pretty handily, 35-24. My player to watch is Sammy Watkins. Wide receiver had a big game last week, and now even more is expected of him because Tyreek Hill is out with injury. Sammy Watkins says he feels better than he ever has. He's mentally sharp. He's physically on point, in great shape. And so we're going to see if he can go out there and have another big game for the Chiefs. On the other side of the ball, my player to watch is rookie running back Josh Jacobs. Last week he had a nice debut. 85 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, 28 receiving yards. A very well-rounded effort for him. That's going to be key as they try to continue to ease pressure on Derek Carr. They've got to continue to have a strong run game in support of him. But he's going up against a Kansas City Chiefs defense that is improved. And obviously, it's going to be hard for them to keep pace. They don't want to get in the hole because then they have to abandon the run. So getting off to a strong start on the ground is going to be crucial for them. Next up, got the Los Angeles Rams against the New Orleans Saints. This is going to be a rematch of the NFC Championship game. A big, highly entertaining game. I've got the Rams. I'm picking them 38-33. I think it's going to be a very high-scoring, like I said, entertaining game. My player to watch is defensive back Nikel Roby-Coleman. You remember him. He's the guy who had the pass interference non-call that basically ruined the season for the New Orleans Saints. They didn't throw the flag. If they had thrown the flag like they should have, the Saints probably would have gone to the Super Bowl. Roby got away with one there. And so I'm curious. I could see Sean Payton just going after him again and again and again. It's going to be interesting to see how he does. We'll see who he's matched up on, but I think that they try to pick on him a little bit. But I still think the Rams come out on top. My player to watch on the Saints side of the ball is Michael Thomas. Obviously, he's had a big game every single time he's played the Rams. They're going to try to scheme it up, get pressure on Drew Brees, take him out of this, but he's so hard to stop. Next up, Chicago Bears against the Broncos. This is a reunion here because they are going up against their former defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio. I've got Chicago narrowly winning this one, 20-18. I know some people don't think it's going to be that close, but I think it is because I think Fangio is going to know how to get after Mitch Trubisky and cause him trouble. That's why Trubisky is my player to watch on the Bears side of the ball. He did not look good in the opener. 26 for 45, 228. No touchdowns, interception. Just had some bad throws, some bad decision-making, some questionable head-scratcher type of decisions. He's got to be more poised. He's got to play better, be more accurate. And so we'll see how he does in week 2 here. On the Broncos side of the ball, I'm looking at Von Miller and Bradley Chubb. Those are supposed to be your formidable pass rushers. They did not have a single sack between the two of them against the Raiders. That can't happen, especially when you've got a great defensive mind like Vic Fangio as your head coach. You've got to be more effective. So we'll see what happens this week if they can bounce back and get after Trubisky and help their team stay in this game. But I still think that Chicago pulls this one out. Then that night, Sunday night, we got the Eagles against the Falcons. I've got Philly improving to 2-0 after winning 30-27. Yes, we saw a really, really ugly performance and kind of surprisingly bad performance out of Matt Ryan and the Falcons last week, but I think that they bounce back. They're more effective. I think they're again going to struggle to run the ball. That's why my player to watch on the Eagles side of the ball is Fletcher Cox. He's going to terrorize those trenches, and the rest of that defensive front is going to follow along. It's going to be hard for them to run the ball, so Matt Ryan's got to have a good game. So that's why he's my Falcon to watch, and we'll see what happens. I still think that the Eagles wind up winning this thing 30-27. And to cap it all off, we've got the Cleveland Browns against the Jets, like we talked about. Two teams badly in need of a rebound, but I've got Baker Mayfield as my player to watch, hoping to put that 3-interception opening against him. And I think that he'll do better. Their defense has got to play more sound. They've got to give the offense more opportunities. I think that Mayfield comes out highly motivated, plays well. Adam Gase is my guy to watch on that side of the ball. Does he come up with a better game plan, or is this just more of the same Adam Gase that we saw in Miami? We will find out. But that's my picks there for the week. I hope you enjoyed them. Take some notes. And if you've got your picks, send them to me by email. We'll compare notes there. You can email me, mjones@usatoday.com, if you have questions, comments. It's been nice hearing from you guys the last couple weeks. Always good to hear from you, get feedback and questions for the podcast. I will be coming to you Sunday night. I'll be putting together the next episode. It'll be up midday morning. I will be in Nashville for that Colts-Titans game. And I'll talk to you guys on Monday. Thanks again. Keep up with usatoday.com. Again on Twitter, by Mike Jones, and Instagram by Mike Jones, and then email again, mjones@usatoday.com. Thanks again for listening to the Football Jones podcast.